Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and you just missed the joke about running trains. Caleb, I'd rather be the engineer, but let's what are we talking about today?
Dual sire clutches.
That's right. You get the reference why the joke happened before we were on camera. Then we're going to talk about dual sired clutches, which is basically should you run a train, not you personally, but should you have your males run a train on your female ball pythons. Let's talk about that and why I personally, okay, let me put the little fucking exclamation point on here before somebody gets their feelings hurt and somebody starts saying some shit and I got to deal with a bunch of blowback. My opinion does not represent the opinion of everybody, nor is it the only way to do things, nor is it the gospel, nor do I give a shit if you like it or not. Okay? We good? Got that covered? We're all copacetic now. I don't like dual sire clutches. I don't want to do it. I will never do a dual sire on purpose, and I'm going to tell you why. First, let's talk about what a dual sire clutch would be. That's not to say we'll never do one on accident. There is a possibility of that happening. So even if you go, I'm like you, Matt, I don't want to fuck with dual sire. It sounds like a big pain in the ass. You still need to understand it, and you still need to run your documentation because it still could happen to you even if you don't try, which is why we're bringing this topic up. So let's say we got our, we'll use this one here. It's a pastel lesser, super pastel lesser actually, being bred to a blitz male. Now we've seen visual locks here. We're going to let this go the whole time. What if we hadn't seen visual locks? We might go, oh man, whew, you know what? I don't think that male's getting the job done. We're going to pull him out. And you know what would be really cool with that? Maybe it'd be really cool to do, what would be another cool male with that?
Carpet.
Kurt, you're fucking up this whole video. Now be good. Carpet python.
Pastel
Oh, you know what? Well, you know what we should go with?
Champagne.
The soup. Yeah, fuck it. We're going to go with champagne. Just for you. Because it makes cool snakes. We're going to throw the...
It actually does.
What champagne? We have a champagne scaleless head male we're raising up.
Yeah.
We're going to throw that there. Okay? So let's say we see locks there. We get 6 eggs. And eggs start hatching. And we start to think to ourselves, hey, we threw 2 males in there. Maybe we're going to get dual sired. We would be thinking that. We wouldn't really want dual sired. We switched males because we thought this guy wasn't doing the L, but he is. Excuse me. So what could come out of there? Well, let's just, you know what we should do? You want to go grab me the big flow chart and a pen. I fucking didn't grab it earlier. We're going to diagram this out for you. So I think it'll be much easier to understand if we do that for those who've never dealt with dual sired. Because there is some confusion on dual sired. I'm going to really explain to you where you can get in trouble with this. Because you may tell your customer wrong. Well, he brings that in. This is when we didn't prepare ourselves very well because I didn't know I was going to draw a diagram until the video started. And then I also put a big box in his way before he went to go get that. So now he's going to come back after moving that all covered in dust. Because Freedom Breeder did send me my 4 new tubs. They're not in there yet because they're in that big box at FedEx covered in dust. So thank you, Freedom Breeder, for hooking us up with the tubs that were missing. And by the way, we'll do a long-term review of this thing. Short answer is, I love it. So here comes the big old thing. If you can put it in here. And my dry erase marker. So, we have one female. She is... Yeah, that smells about right. Make sure this is dry erase. Smells like dry. It is. We have a super... pastel lesser. Okay. That's our female. She's getting a train from the Blitz. I am going to be in so much trouble for using that phrase. and as Kurt said, the champagne pastel scaleless head. Both of them are breeding to her. And we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eggs off that. Now, we have several genes at play. We know everybody's going to get pastel. Because what's in play with mom is always going to be in play, right? So everybody's going to get 1 copy of pastel. We'll mark that 1 copy with the P for each one of these. Okay? Each one could get lesser. We'll go ahead and put that on there. And that's the genes that mom is giving to those babies. Okay? So now, what happens? You're thinking, well, it's pretty simple, Matt. You got champagne. You can get another pastel for the super pastel, scales, head, and blitz. You can. But each egg only has one dad. Dual sired does not mean you can. So if you get the blitz here, okay, it's got pastel, so we get the blitz. Then you cannot get champagne, pastel, scaleless head here. None of those genes will be here. It cannot physically happen unless you get twins and you get two separate snakes. And even then, I'm not 100% sure if you could even pull that off. You can technically pull it off in people and in mammals. You can have two dads and a set of twins. It's really fucking weird. It means that chick, like right after she was done with you within about 8 hours, yeah, met the milkman, which by the way is his MMA fighting name, correct? You are the milkman.
Sure am.
So maybe she met Caleb. Maybe one of them is his. But you can't do it. Okay, so this, if this has champagne, and let's say it has scaleless head, it won't have blitz. One dad per egg. One dad. One dad. One dad. Fun fact, cats can do this too. One dad. One dad. One dad. That's it. They all have one dad, not two. If anybody tells you you can get all these genes in one baby, they are wrong. That part's not opinion. That part's called fucking science, okay? Science isn't an opinion. Science is fact. Give you a point. Global warming. It's happening. Our world is getting warmer. That is science. Causes of global warming being man-caused or nature-caused or a mix of the two. There's a lot of opinion in there, right? And some of it's based on things we know and conjecture, but the fact is, we do know the planet's warming up. We do know each one, well, not that one, I already had a dad. Each one of these only has one dad, not two. Anybody telling you that you can get blitz and the champagne with the pastel for mom right here, and says that you could possibly out of this somehow make a super pastel, because this is what I hear all the time, that's why we're covering it, champagne, blitz, scaleless head, lesser. From this pairing, right? They tell you this is possible, then they don't understand what the fuck is going on. You need to back up off that person a little bit and say, thank you for your time, and let them do some more learning before you start listening to them. And if you try to explain it to them and they tell you you're wrong, just don't argue with them, because you ain't going to win in an argument. I can tell you in 100 years, I think I've won 2 of those, okay? And I've been in a lot of them, and most of them in a draw because nobody's going to change opinion. Sometimes you can change opinion when you slap a big old fact there that isn't disputable, like people misquoting you. Which just happened the other day, believe it or not. It was so much fun. I even got to use the phrase, here it is, are we done here? And I got 0 responses. I'm like, yeah! Psh, get the fuck out of here. And it wasn't reptile related. So, with this, that's what you need to understand. So, why don't I like dual sired? Okay, let me borrow this here. I'll show you why I don't like dual sired. Why I would never recommend doing this on purpose. If you're really good at identifying genes and you wanted to make all these combos, you could rotate both those males in there and you could do it and you could identify it, especially when dealing with something like champagne. It's going to stick out like a sore thumb, tell you who the dad is. Blitz is going to stick out on these and tell you who the dad is. Wouldn't be that hard. You could do this. I wouldn't do it on purpose. I'm using 2 males to do one job. I'd rather use 1 male to do one job. What's
less
that?
chances to catch all the genes.
Yeah, you are running less. If you really wanted to catch blitz, you're cutting it down. You know, I mean, because you got to catch that dad in that egg. Theoretically, if you have 6 eggs, you could have 6 dads. You could have a sextuplet sired clutch, I guess. If you have 10, call it a decasire clutch. That's a long train. So now that we've made that, let's change the game. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Let's say I really wanted to get my blitz. This is where it goes south on you. Okay. So I use another blitz male. he happened to be axanthic. And I did this. This is where your pairing and your plan gets totally fucked. Okay? You're not going to have scales head anymore. It's gone. Right? We don't have this. We already talked about that's just stupid. So don't listen to anybody who tells you that's possible. What you won't know is if any of these now are head axanthic. That goes for clown. That goes for any recessive you're using. I just picked my favorite. And what I mean is, if you make this pastel lesser blitz, which blitz?
You don't know.
Which one? And that's it. You don't know. So then you're like, oh, well, this is what happens, y'all. I'm telling you, it's human nature. People go, well, I didn't see this one lock. Never saw a lock. Right? Saw a lock. So what do people say then? Winner. Is that correct though? Just because you didn't see somebody bang your girlfriend, does it mean she didn't cheat on you? No. You're not supposed to see that happen. That's why it's called cheating. Don't recommend cheating. Scandalous shit. My point being, though, is people are like, oh, man, look, they want that to be this, right? So now they're going to start saying, yeah, man, that's head axanthic. And you're going to raise it for 3 years, and you're going to breed it, and it's not going to produce anything because guess what? That was actually the dad. So if you're going to do this, you need to actually do it in the way we just talked about and use genes that are vastly different so you're able to identify what actually comes out of the egg. Okay? And that's why I recommend not doing this on purpose, especially throwing in random recessives, because you're going to get your heads all confused. It's going to make your life just more difficult. Why would you want to make your life more difficult? I know I wouldn't. So let me tell you what else can happen, okay? This is why maintaining records is so importante. Where's my spray? The spray they tell me never to use. I just don't like how it's these little streaky. So it's boop, boop. Works great. Ah, yeah. Now look, super nice. Almost. Got to get it all off. Not clean until I scrub the skin off. Speaking of which, anybody else hear about that creep ass in Oklahoma?
No.
7 bodies. 2 teenage girls.
Dang.
If he in fact killed all them, which were found in his house, may he rot in hell.
He's going to be gone for a while.
And since I know a lot of people in Oklahoma, let me just say my heart goes out to my families down there. That's horse shit. Last thing we need in this world is more people who are fucking murdering pedophile pieces of garbage. And on that note, the one type of people I hate, well, I don't like, you know who I don't like? There's 2 people in this world I don't like. Can you guess them? 2.
People
Kurt?
who say the only good snake's a dead snake.
No, you can change their minds. Kurt, what 2 people does Matt just not like in this world? I'll give you guys a hint.
KU fans.
Yeah, they're even okay sometimes. Just a few
Scammers.
days a year. Oh no, they're fun. Me and Indiana Jones share one in common.
Nazis!
Yeah, pedophiles and Nazis, no use for either one. Okay, and on that front, let's keep on moving, y'all. Yeah, that was heartbreaking to read that. This popped into my head, I don't know why. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. Let's say you bred a Blitz female, because we like Blitz around here. Okay? And last year, you bred her to... should have used a different one. We'll save this for fun, though. A Hellfire. Got to get our own project in there, right? Male. To make some Hellfire Blitzes. And this year, you bred her to a Kurt wants Blitzkrieg Blitz male. Because Kurt wants Blitzkrieg. And you get eggs that pop out. What if one looks different? Is it possible to have a dual sired clutch even if you only use one male this year, 2023, 2022? Could I have babies that don't match this, that are retained sperm from here?
Mm-hmm.
You can. Much more rare than running the train, but still possible because they have that ability to do that. So this is one of those things where it's really important to maintain your records, okay? Because if something comes out that doesn't look right, you can go back in your records and say, who did I pair that to previously? And get the best guess to figure out what in the hell you're seeing and what is going on. If you don't keep those records, y'all, you're not going to have that, and then you're going to be like mass confusion, or you're going to go, well, I'm just going to call it this, and you're going to make another line of lesser. Don't do that. So maintain your records. But some of you say, well, what do you know about the Hellfire? How do you not know it's Hellfire? Because I maintained my records when we made the first Hellfires. And I had that snake before she was ever bred, right? Never been bred female. I bred her once to a calico, had babies. I bred her a second time to my Blitz, had babies, and that's where the original Hellfires popped out. I did go back and double check my pairing, say, what in the world did we do before? Have we ever paired anything else? Nope, that was only 2 seasons we paired her. And did she have babies the first time? Absolutely. I only bred like 6 pairs that year. I kind of knew. And it was calico. And then I have also gone back and checked, did that calico ever throw anything like that again? Nope. So I know it wasn't retained from there. I know it came from my Blitz and Champagne pairing. So anyway, that's why you maintain records, because you can have something like that happen and make a retained sperm from the previous year and have a dual sired clutch. So why do I hate them? Why am I not a fan? Well, because of just that. I think genes get misidentified too much. I think, as a hobby, we're too quick to call something new and not call it a project. You can let people buy into the project if you want. That's actually good for the project because it gets more people working with it, more eyes on more projects. But we're too quick to call something new. We're too quick to dig our heels in and stand by it, as opposed to like work the system. And when you start having things like dual-sired clutches, all it does is add and cause confusion. It just makes it more difficult. Especially if you're new at this, man. If you're in your first 3 or 4 years of producing, and you're like, I'm going to run 15 genes into this 3-gene female by running a bunch of males through there to see what happens, all you're going to likely do is run higher rates of confusion and misidentification on yourself. It's really not worth doing. I think people run into it because they buy their males first. They have a plethora of males. They feel like they're just sitting around. Okay, guess what? Welcome to the same mistake we all made. We did it too. Everybody does it. No matter how many times everybody like me tells them, hey, buy your females first. They get enamored with the genes. The male costs less money. They buy it. That's what happens. It really, truly is. So you just can't force it. Caleb, what do you think about dual-sired clutches? What's your feeling? Do you like them, hate them?
I don't like them at all. Even beyond the reasons why you said, because it could screw up a lot of your plans and things like that, and even touched on a little bit, but as a seller, that scares me. Because what if, right, you were talking about when you had the Xanthic in there, you don't know if it came from the Blitz or if it was the other Blitzes that would scare me to sell something with my name on it.
Yeah.
And because that's someone's project too. Like, I don't think of it of just, I'm selling this animal to someone as a pet. Especially if you're talking recessives, that's probably someone's project when it's not a het, because no one just buys a het for a pet, right? So you're screwing someone out of 2.5 years of work. That they're gonna hold a grudge.
The proper way to sell that animal, if you ever ran into that, would be to sell it as a lesser of the two.
Yeah.
Not let your heart of what you want it to be, and your wallet of what your wallet wants it to be, get in the way of the ethics. So how I would sell that exact animal we lined out is I would sell it as a Blitz. Lesser pastel, that was what it was. And then I would tell them, hey man, I put a Blitz in there and I didn't really see him breeding, so I threw a Blitz Xanthic in there and I saw him lock. There's a chance this is het Xanthic, but since I put 2 in there and I can't be sure I'm going to sell it at this for this price, I'm only going to guarantee it's pastel lesser Blitz.
Yeah.
I want to share that information with them so they know, in case, and I would look at that if I was in and buying it. You're buying it for what you know it is. But if I've got a male that maybe is Xanthic laying around, I'm probably going to throw that there one time if it's got some of the genes I want to get in that project just to see.
Yeah.
But that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
But I would never sell it exclusively as this one, because if I'm going to make that mistake, I want it to be there's a difference in making a mistake because there was no way for you to know or you just missed something, and making a mistake because you wanted it to be something else. Don't make a mistake out of desire for more money. That's not how this hobby should work. Yeah. Ever. If you're making a mistake, make it honest. It ain't worth that extra $150 to make an ass of yourself. Anything else?
There is another scenario that makes records actually important. This is a very, very niche issue that could happen, but it's one that does, if you are planning, you might keep in the back of your mind. Let's say you have a pied female, right? And you want to make double hets. And so last year, you bred her to an axanthic, right?
Damn, it sounded like we did that.
And then let's say this year, because this has been 2022, this year you bred her to something like this, a clown. Yeah. Odds of this happening are very, very small. But you're going to get all double hets, and there's no kicker genes here. Yeah. You're not going to see anything extra. My fear would be, am I holding back an axanthic or a clown? And so what I would do if it was me, and if I ever get to like running double recessives and things, is I would have a secondary pied female, and I would run that clown.
That's probably the best way to do it if you have enough. Now, if I ran this pairing in 2022 and got babies, and I ran this pairing in 2023 and got babies, I'll be blunt, I would sell the 2023s as clown.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. The odds of this actually happening and being an issue are minuscule.
Yeah, this is like the 99.9%, right? So that's what I'm going to go with. And then that's where you're making it. If it is wrong, it's an honest mistake. You had no way to know it was a mistake. But when they call me, they're like, hey, fucker, I bred that thing and I got no clowns. I'm like, well, are you breeding to a head or a visual? A visual. Well, how many eggs you get? 1. Yeah, try again. I got 8. Yeah, they ain't looking so good, is it? You know? So then I'd be like, well, look, man, here was apparently what she's previously paired to, and then I would look back and wonder if that was the case. But yeah, if you had a separate one to run those through, it's always better. But I mean, that the dual sire from retained sperm is going to be
very minuscule.
Very minuscule. Yeah, they usually are going to use the newest, greatest.
Have run into that.
I mean, minuscule doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Two-headed snakes.
Right. Happen. Oh yeah. That's it. I bought a leopard het pied.
Mm-hmm.
Cine het pied. Sorry. Bred it to 2 visual females. I got a total of 16 eggs. No pieds. Now I could have missed the odds. When I talked to him, because that's a long odds to miss.
Yeah.
The first year, it was bred to a non-recessive, non-super thing. And didn't lay eggs. The second year, that Cine was bred to a pied, so that's why he assumed.
Yeah. That's a safe assumption, but he may have had a fully retained sperm clutch.
Yeah.
It may not even been dual sire. Yeah. It may have just been straight retained.
Exactly.
Yeah, but and that's to me, when I hear that from a breeder, that's an honest mistake.
Yeah,
you know? Now, if that same breeder makes that mistake all the time, you got to start to wonder. But most of the time, that's not the case. It's just it falls in the category of shit happens. You know. Now, if it's something where they just picked a bad pairing like the Blitz and Blitz Axanthic and just assumed it was this one, and then you call them like, oh, well, I also threw it to a regular Blitz the same year. No, then you fucked up. That's a fuck up, right? Or in your pied case, if it was, I was breeding it to a visual pied this year, but I also was breeding it to a lesser earlier, and I didn't see any lesser, so I knew it had to be the pied. But did it? You know what I mean? Yeah. Or I was breeding to a Cine, because I thought maybe I'd make super Cines. Then I found out they kink, so I switched to a pied. Didn't see any super Cines, but I got 6 out of 8 cinnamons. Yeah, fuck that up. That's a dual sired clutch or a single sired. That's wrong. That's where you can get yourself in trouble. Don't dual. So I would say, personally, don't dual sire on purpose.
Nope.
And if you do, make sure you're using 2 males that are vastly different and keep the recessives out of that bullshit.
Yep.
Out of it. Unless, again, you're using a recessive with a vastly different male. But even then, you're not going to know, because you're only going to know about the only way I would do it is if I was using my super pastel axanthic male, and my other male was, say, my not that one. I got pastel on about everything. My other male was I don't know, I can't say that one. My other male was my Suma. That would be a good example. I would be able to identify those.
Yeah.
And I would be able to identify who's het for axanthic. Because the super pastel forces the pastel into everything. Same with pastel would be het for axanthic, as long as the female wasn't pastel, like a pied in this case.
Yeah.
And anything that had mahogany would be, from the Suma. That would be about the only way I would do it. And even that's still too convoluted. I'm burning 2 males for 1 female. I'm not going to do it. Kurt, what's your thoughts? This is a video you wanted me to do, and you got the fucking full-blown rant, and you got train jokes and everything, so I hope you're happy.
Yep.
You're happy. What do you think about dual siring? Is it okay as long as the swords don't touch?
It's interesting, but it's not something you should try to do.
So you shouldn't try to do it, but if it happens in the club, it's okay if the swords don't touch.
Yep.
All right, you heard it there from Kurt. Y'all should go visit him. He's your third. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.